In the morning, wait, hang those people trying to hit your brain. This is what you gotta do. If you hear people just try to say, and I hold that room up, and I aim for the sky. Wondering why, with me in the eye, tell me a lie. Fuck you, shit, I shoot my knife. And I know I take your life if you gon' try. And I know I'm destined to die. I go for the coat.
Hey guys, I'm back with another video. I've been away for a while, been focused on my bike, getting it prepped, but we have a returning guest. Mr. Keller, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you, Devin?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So I know the area qualifiers was a couple of weeks ago. How'd you do?
I've actually done pretty well. Being that I was out till about 10, 11 o'clock the night before up here at the Outlaw Series banquet, which I'm representing them tonight with my sweatshirt. I love this color. It's
I did too. I noticed them yesterday. I was like, I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah.
Tell us about the track, man. I mean, it seems like here lately it's been nothing but rain on the weekends.
Telling you, you better know how to ride in the mud these days, because it seems like we have a lot of wet tracks, which, hey, I'm used to the mud. Years ago when I first started, it didn't matter if it rained, poured, sunny, 100 degrees or 10 degrees. The road. And I seem to do okay in the mud, I guess, mainly because I don't get too wild. And I just try to stay smooth. But generally works. Tracks seem to be days. I hate Kathy's didn't run today. We got a little bit too much water for him, I guess. But it was muddy down at the qualifier. They're known for watering. It don't have to rain down there, and they water that track. It gets really slick and deep ruts. Come out of there with some really good finishes, really great starts. I had about 4 or 5. I'll say 5, but it was 50-50 on the one. I 6. Pretty much I stayed in top 3, finished third in 4 of them, and I got second in the one class I threw in there for extra in the 55 plus class. So I got in. Thank goodness I didn't have any crashes or none. The same buddies that beat me, all my classes, same ones. So, and I knew they was good. One come up from Florida for the qualifier, and the other one's a local guy from down here in Columbia that I race with regularly, and we have good starts. And then they just sort of get me, and I'm where I.
Man, I mean, what I heard, it was slam packed out there that weekend. I heard parking was rough, and then getting out was even rougher.
Yeah, we didn't take the fifth wheel that weekend. We just drove down. I got up about 3 o'clock that Sunday morning, drove down for my qualifier. I just took the little flat trailer. So I found me a little corner next to the track and parked. But boy, we would have not have had a good spot if I'd have took the camper. We'd have had to have gone down the Friday before at least to get back.
Yeah. Let's talk about I do want to cover a topic before we move on to another one that just popped into my head. You brought up back in the day tracks would run if it was raining, snowing, 100 degrees, whatever. Why can't we keep doing that? I mean, I was looking at pictures of Kathy's Creek back in the 90s, and there was trees in the middle of the track. It just had that old school motocross vibe. I'm not hating on the track. I wish, I'm all about opinions. I wish some tracks would leave the trees around the track, making it, have that motocross vibe. But no, I agree with you 100%. Why are we not running in the mud?
Well, it's easy to blame the track. I don't blame the tracks, mainly because us old school riders and coming up, it was open, we raced. I think mainly because kids nowadays I'm older even, look at it, well, I ain't gonna go out there and race in the mud. Why do I want to get out there and tear my stuff up or get hurt or, have to spend hours cleaning the bikes back up or burn up a motorcycle out there? And the tracks, when you're only getting 2 or 3 guys in each class, well, it's not worth them opening up, spending all their fuel and time and money and flagman for 20 guys that'll come out there and weather the storm,
Yeah.
because it does cost a lot of money to open the track. The
It
insurance.
does.
So I sort of blame us riders as not wanting to get out there and get money and tear up our stuff. I find myself doing that too, because today, I told my wife last night, I says, I went and practiced today. It says 100% rain all the way up through 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, then rain periodically the rest of the day. I said, I don't think I need to really go out there and worry about it, because we was going to take Caden, my wife, Strider and Stacy ride, and that would have been really rough in the mud for a Stacy. Probably wouldn't even got to ride. So, I'll fall in that category now too. I'm older.
No, I agree with you on it being the riders complaining too. It's not so much of the track, but what people don't understand is, from a local perspective, you're looking at it as in, like you said, why am I going to go out here and tear up my bike or take a chance on getting hurt? Or I don't even like riding in these conditions. But when you go to qualifiers like you did at south of the border, dude, you got rain 3-4 days in a row, and they're still out there ripping the track, and y'all still out there racing. It gets deep. That's what's going to separate the good riders from the bad riders.
Yeah.
And if it's raining, I want to find a track around here that's open, because I want to get that experience. So, as an example, last year we had, I think it was all 3 or 2 rounds of 221. It had rained practice day into the night, and we wake up and it's just a soupy mess. But Chris Fortune and his guys, they get out there and they get that track turned around quick.
Yes. And, like you said, you go to these big races like Retta's. A few years ago, I went out there in the 40 class, and it rained 6 inches the night before my race, and that was the very first race the next morning.
God.
Inches. Well, it didn't play for me. I got my normal good start, but when I went into the first turn, pull my roll off, my front wheel took. I got run over, knocked out, broke my wrist. I mean, but you did it. Last 2 years, it didn't really rain a lot. I mean, it was a little slick. They watered a good bit, but you have to know how to ride in the rain and the mud and the ruts. And, and that's what I tell a lot of kids, go out there. When I used to practice, me, Chad Mays, a bunch of Mitchell Jones, a bunch of us would go over to Matt Hamilton's track several days a week, or down to Steve McSwain's track in Shelby. It didn't matter if it rained or not. And that's what we had to do.
Not only the McSwains, but the McKees too. Austin and Gavin, I believe. Austin was talking to me. He's like, man, as soon as it stops raining and we can get out here and work on this track, come on out here. But from what I've heard, you really have to be on the gas to hit some of them jumps. So I messaged him like, hey, bro, can you tone it down just for like the C/D class rider skill level? And he started laughing.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I want to see more tracks run in weather conditions.
And with another thing too, there's so many little bikes now, and I guess it's so hard on them. And that's where the majority of the bikes are now. And that's where they're making a lot more money off of 75, 80 little. They're the ones that's out there paying so much, and they can't go if it's deep mud. I've been to Cathy's Creek many times, that finish line hill.
Yeah. Now I know at Iron City and 221, they cut most of the track for the smaller bikes. Can we not give an option for if the kids wanted to run, you know, if it was terrain and be able to allow them to get up the hill, cut the track. Make the track smaller, let them run that upper section, cut out the finish line, have their own finish line. I think that's doable.
Even Muddy Creek does that. You know, they'll cut off that big hill because it's too hard for the little bikes to get up that slick hill. You know, I think
I want to touch on one subject because you brought up Muddy Creek, the bomber, where you go to these amateur races and you hear these guys wanting to hit it. But most of the time, they don't have it available to hit.
Right, they'll take it out. And two, you know, that's a big separator. When I was younger and started out, I was a jumper. And now, if you're a jumper in the D class, you're not going to be in the D class. They're going to put you up to C class at least. You know.
Go ahead, my bad.
I was just going to say, you know, that's the fine line right now to these promoters. You know, if you're one out here doing a triple and you're one or two of you's only doing it, you're going to get bumped up to C class where they feel like, you know, hey, you're a better rider. And it might be that you're braver or, you know, you can jump. But I go along with that in a sense because they never had D class when I started. So, I mean, I started in the C class. So, you know, I think a D class is good for a first year beginner. And get you know, starting their bearings on how to ride, you know, balance the bikes and how to get their timing down on jumps. Yeah, great class to start.
Yeah, I practiced yesterday, and I had a lot of people come up to me and like ask me, you know, well, basically compliment me on my improvements from the end of last year to the beginning of this year. And they asked me, they're like, what'd you do? We didn't see you having a bike. We didn't hear you out here racing or anything. And I told them, I said, honestly, I rented out Top Gun for the past 4 weeks and was able to get a couple loaner bikes to ride. But honestly, I think it's just the confidence of getting a full year done and coming out healthy. I think it's like a better confidence booster. So I am looking forward to seeing where I go after the first couple rounds of the Outlaw Series.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that one deep rut at Kathy's Creek, man. I noticed you and your brother or your son, my bad. Your son was riding with you, and I was like, okay, I gotta get a video of this. So in between this conversation, you guys check out this video of just out there goofing off, having a good time. And honestly, I was just looking through some videos that I got yesterday towards the end of practice, and I seen that, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I want to get Mike Keller back on here. So once again, Mike, I do want to appreciate you coming back on here for another episode. Let's get into Supercross. You know, the results for the 450, Ken Roxon taking the first win on the Suzuki. Man, I'm looking at the stats right here. He qualified fourth, but coming into the main, he got the whole shot and he led 27 laps and he finished first. And then you had Barsha, Webb, Plessinger, Anderson, Cianciarulo, Craig, and then Tomac. Tomac finished 8th. Do you think that's going to be do you think that's going to mess with Tomac mentally? Because now not only did he have a bad finish, he's lost the points lead to hometown favorite Cooper Webb now, just by 1 point. But at the same time, with Cooper riding the way he has been, could Cooper walk off with another championship and send Tomac to retirement after I think it's what is it, the World of Supercross Tour or something like that.
No, it will spark Webb. I think he's super consistent on tape. I don't think it's going to affect Tomac at all. I think he'll come out and win the next one. I honestly do. He's just that good. And talking about Roxon, a good racer is a good racer. You put him on that kid. I say kid. That guy. He went how many different bikes? He even rode bikes and rode. Yeah, he might be hard to deal with when setting the bike up. I mean, I've heard stories. I don't know Ken personally. I've kept up with him, and I like his style. I try to mimic my style after him. Get a good start, get the whole shot, and then hold on as long as I can because I feel like I'm in a lot of ways like him. I start fading towards the end.
Yeah.
That start, and that's the key to him. His confidence is built up, and he can stay up there in front and fend off. But once he ever gets past, I think that's when he drops back a little bit. Just like Tomac. If he's not up front, it's like if he's mediocre there, I think he's mediocre. If he's up there in sniffing distance of the leader, he's going to push and he's going to get it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to. I don't think it's going to change much as far as either one of them doing worse or better.
I mean, I'd like to see Cooper Webb come back from taking a year off to bringing home a championship, though.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool up there at 220. He was up there that day, him and Chad Reed. I got out there and purposely got practice just to ride. And, of course, when I got beside him and went by, he pulled off. I know he was just out there playing. But to me, I felt like, hey, I know Chad, and I just know Cooper from around here. I'm like, I want to ride with him, push and see what I could do. I didn't get a chance to. He pulled off. But it was cool seeing them guys up there.
Yeah, I wish I would have had my bike because I would just hop in 25 plus just to say, hey, look, I might have gotten lapped 3 times on the first lap, but it's still just the experience and what people are able to experience within the sport that just makes it so great. I just wanted to add that in there. Also, with the main event results, I'm looking here with 2. Let's see, Josh Hill, Frederick Noren, Cade Clanson. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 guys from North Carolina in the top 20.
Yeah.
What? I mean, being in North Carolina, you don't really hear about all these really good training facilities.
Right.
Where are these guys going to, or where do you think they're practicing at to where they're pulling them out of North Carolina more and more now? Because they got the FXR Muck Off Club MX team. They're based out of Chester, South Carolina, but I mean it's still Carolina. And now you're starting to see them come up in the ranks too.
Yep. And south of the border, they got those Clausen and them. They hang out down there. And you don't see, what's funny is like Cooper Webb and them from around here, and you got Jordan Smith, from Belmont down here. You don't never see them around our local tracks. They've always went off somewhere, down to Florida or somewhere. That's where they didn't do it around here. Because you didn't see them. A lot of them go up there to Todd's house, Todd Bennett's, and there.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the 250. Hunter Lawrence finished the night off with first place. He got the whole shot and led for all 21 laps. Man, I'm glad to see Jeremy Martin within the top 5. I've been watching some of his vlogs and noticed that when he doesn't do good, he beats himself up. That's when when the emotion starts coming out of the rider, they're very dedicated to that sport or whatever they're doing. So I've really kept an eye on Jeremy Martin. He's become a favorite of mine as well. Hayden Deegan was doing great. We're running top 5, went down in the whoop section. That's twice in this season that he's gone down in the whoops. But when he's not going down, he looks great. Do you think it's like, what do you think it was a mental mistake? Do you think it was like a bike placement error? What do you think it was on that caused him to go down?
That kid's got so much pressure on himself to perform. I don't think he has to perform like he's doing. I like the kid. I want him to do good. I see him, I hate to even say this, as maybe a Stewart, because Stewart was either a checkers or wreckers,
Yeah.
And I see this Deegan kid getting up there to his speed because he's got the talent and got the speed. I just hope he stays and calm down just a little bit, and maintain. And I think he'll be the next guy up top. I think he'll be the next. I think he's going to be up there.
Yeah, he's already breaking records, and I thought it was funny earlier this year in his vlogs. They said that he was going to stay amateur another year, and he was picking about how he was going to run Loretta's again, but I didn't see that happening. I was telling myself, I was like, why is he going to do this again? Like, you've done reached every championship you've done. Like, you're breaking records already, kid. Go ahead and move up.
I
So I was
knew.
happy.
I just didn't know how soon. I had that feeling that they was going to bring him on up.
Yeah.
Well, all these kids getting hurt out there. Kawasaki's decimated 2 riders.
Actually, I think they've decimated 6 total. Is what I seen earlier. I think they only had one rider left. That was
2 riders.
Yeah.
All these kids and these tracks are getting so hard, and they're pushing themselves so hard, they're crashing and getting hurt left and right. And you see your riders still, your Andersons and your, I hate to even put Barsha in the smooth rider, but he's there. He's staying healthy this year and consistent. The Rocks and your Tomacs, your Webbs, they're always going to be there because they're not the ones that, if they make a mistake, it's a true mistake. And you've seen Tomac break our. But you see all these younger kids that's out here getting hurt and dropping out left and right. I don't know. I think the whoops is a big thing. But if they could fit and not have, maybe they have too much pressure. Maybe they know there's somebody waiting to get their spot if they don't perform, too fast.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on Max Ansey?
Going back to 250s?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. He was up there, he was 15th place guy, 50s or so, and he had speed. I like him back in the 250s. I don't think he should, they used to be 250 or 125 or 250s used to be like the beginner stages for the new kids. Then you graduate into 450s. I don't think it should be that so much. Let them race. It's a supercross, no matter if you're on 250, 450, 350, whatever. Hey, win championships. Go out there. Somebody's got to beat you.
Let's talk about let's see. Let's talk about, of course, Cathy's Creek got rained out today. So this coming up weekend, you got a area qualifier at Fast Farm, I believe, and then you got that race at Revolution, and then the weekend after, you got Muddy Creek this coming up Sunday too. Are you going to go up there for Muddy Creek?
I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I haven't run anything by my wife or anything since we didn't get to race this weekend.
Yeah.
Each weekend, just whatever. I don't try to plan too far ahead. I did want to hit this one yesterday. That was on my radar. As soon as it started, I wanted to do the first one. But I've only really, I think I told you, got one goal this year, and that's to do Loretta's, do the qualifiers for Loretta's, and go back out there. and maybe do the Outlaw or some other series and try to do good in one other series. Just play it by ear. I would like to go to Muddy Creek. I've been looking at the weather. I've already looked at the weather up there. I think it's still supposed to be a little cool, but as far as rain, I don't think
it's supposed to rain that Friday, but with practice being Saturday and then the race being Sunday, I think that track's gonna be prime.
Oh yeah. Revolution weeks ago, first time I'd ever been there. It's gonna be a tight track if you got a lot of bikes.
Oh yeah, Revolution, man, I love the track. It's a big track.
I like the layout. I mean, I like the jumps. I like the layout. I like where it's at, elevations. He did a good job. It could be a little wider if we get a big venue down there.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about the flow of the track?
Revolution.
Yeah.
I first, like I said, I went down there the first time was a couple of weeks ago. Me and Braxton. I like every jump because it's visible, except for the one tabletop up the hill and then down the other side. I jumped every, and then I come back around the next time and jumped out. It's just only because I didn't know what was over there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some long jumps. Finish line, you land out there hard.
I know. That's the best part about it. You got that little step up, and then you can just get on the gas and let it eat. I've got videos of the first race that they had, and I want to go back to Tyler McSwain. Dude, kid is hellacious fast. I mean, he would come over there, throw a whip, and just pin it and rail the entire outside of the first turn. I mean, that's probably my favorite part of the track.
Yeah, that's by far the fastest. And coming down that straightaway at the finish line. I like that.
That's a good beginner's track too. It's a good way to build your confidence.
Yep.
It's nothing too crazy. You can, you got the finish line step up, and then you got that tabletop, and then you got an uphill, sharp right-hander, and then you got, I think it's like a ski jump, and then you get that other uphill. You could either just roll it, if you're a beginner, or you can try to jump it and step up to where you can clear it. But the biggest jump out there, I think, is that big tabletop coming out of that left-hand turn, right where the finish line's at. But that track also offers a lot of different terrain. You got the sand section after that big tabletop. You got clay. He's got, if he continues doing what he's doing with that track, Roger's gonna have a hell of a track on his hands.
Yeah, if he could put a little more sawdust or something in it, because it does get blue groove.
It does.
And come some of the spots. Other than that, I think he's got a good facility. He can make that something nice. I didn't get a chance to ride a supercross track over there. My buddies did. It looked like it's a pretty neat little track too.
Yeah, that supercross track is nice. I don't know if I talked to you the first time. If I talked to you about running any of the Mid-East stuff, have you ever done any of those, the Mid-East hair scrambles or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. Well, I've done the GNCCs. I've done a couple of those. I've done Big Buck, and I've done one other one that's down there in Union. Can't remember the name of it. The same year. There was something years ago.
Did you hit that hill climb?
Did I what?
Did you hit the hill climb?
Yeah. When I did the Big Buck, I was on a 2010 RMZ 250, and I was having electrical issues, but I was out front, quit on me, couldn't get it started. I think I ended up 10th. And then the next one I went back, I was on a 450 Honda, and I thought I'd won it. I mean, I really thought I'd won it. Everybody said, well, my buddies kept saying, you need to run the pro class. You need to run the pro class. You don't need to run the, C class. But I did the B anyway. I didn't do the pro, but I did the B, and ended up second. It's funny in the woods. You don't really know who you're passing. You really got to see the color of the dirt. I mean, uh, and I swore my name was on number one every lap, and I never got passed. To this day, I swear a guy cut the track and beat me first.
Man,
But
I went to the big butt.
hands was hurting. I mean, blisters. I was like, golly, because I'm used to 15, 20-minute motos, and then I go out there for a couple hours. I'm like,
Yeah. You if you go out there for the first time, you're gonna hate it. But
because I mean, I didn't know no different. I was like, I mean, everybody told me though, before I went out there, don't go wide open. No, but you can't help it. Start up front. You're going to go as fast as you can until you can't go no more. Trees don't forgive you though. That dirt's a little softer than trees.
yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Those trees seem to pop up in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to go down. Me and Chad Mays used to go to Steve McSwain's and over at Tyler's Pawpaw's and ride several times. And Steve would get out there with us. He'd say, "Okay, I'll ride with you boys on the track, but you got to ride me in the woods." We would see him going into the woods, and we'd never see him till we got out of it. He still is. He's still something else in the woods. Tyler's dad.
Yeah, I know he won an award earlier this year.
Yeah, he got the what was it? Rider of the Year or something, or some kind of award. Yeah. That was awesome to see Steve get.
Yeah. You got 221 on the 26th. Are you gonna make that one?
Right now I'm looking at it, I probably will. Want to do something. I want to stick to a series or do something that Caden can do with the Stasic bike and see how far we can go with that. He's still young and he's still scared, but I want to keep giving him an opportunity until he just says, no, I don't want to do it anymore. Plus, I'm coaching his baseball, T-ball. I'll be doing that from here till next winter.
I hear you on that. Mike, is there anything else you want to talk about?
How'd you feel? What was your take of Cathy's Creek since I got to see you out there? I know you was there riding. And you showed me that video of you jumping the finish line.
The initial thought, I hated the rollers or the whoops, but I was talking to Jason Lell, and he told me to take that outside and just double into it, and you can find your rhythm. So I was able to double through them a couple times, and then it's like I started getting wore out towards the end of the day because I'm pretty sure I went out there every practice round that I could until I started feeling sloppy or I didn't feel safe on the bike. I felt like I was trying to push myself too much and I was too wore out. But I was finally able to clear the finish line at Cathy's, which really boosted my confidence. I even started to be able to brake tap over it, which I thought was pretty cool. Somebody had got a video of, I guess, some of that sawdust got packed into my tire, and I went over the finish line and did a brake tap. Somebody got a video of the sawdust from when I hit the brake on the wheel. It made a rainbow effect around my tire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to post that one, but it was pretty sick. But I liked it, dude. I liked the flow of the track. It got deep, which I love. Especially that hair clip turn before the finish line, dude. Just like that, dude. I want to bring up one more rider, and that's David Cubitt. What is your thoughts on the kid?
I was sitting there, I had his name on my tongue. I was gonna bring him up. That's cool. He's the next rider from around here. I'm telling you what, this kid is the next Dax Bennett around here or better. Me and his good friends. I talked to him before and after they went to Florida. I'm keeping up with the kid. Well, mainly because he's a local kid around here, and I'm dad for years. He is somebody to watch. I think he's going to have a chance at a championship at Loretta's this year. I really do. Good kid, greatest for a rider. You see some kids are like, really, I don't need to hear about you dominating everything or winning everything. He's so humble and so down to earth, good Christian kid, good Christian family. I really like this kid. I think he's going somewhere. If I could help anybody, which I can't because he's done better than me, I would like to help him and see how far he can go with it.
Well, with us being on that topic, hey, if you're able to get in contact with him and tell him I want to do an interview with him, please do. I'd love to have him on here. And hey, David, if you're watching these videos, man, hey, reach out to me. I'd love to get an interview with you. And, let's talk about your Daytona back-to-back victories. Mike, what is your take or what is your response to not only winning one of the Daytona races, but back-to-back years winning two?
As far as
David Cubitt.
I mean, I see him winning pretty much everything. Even I think when he even goes up to B next year, he's going to be right there in the top 5 again. I think he's that talented of the kid. He's not going to be a one and done. I think he's do many championships in different series. And
yeah, I think he was one of the guys that hit that wicked rhythm section at the top at Cathy's Creek after the rollers. Man, that I've seen a kid on an 85 hit that, and I was like, no.
Yeah, he's definitely got talent. There's no doubt. And I see him going a long ways.
Yeah. I don't know if you keep up with Ricky on Facebook, but he went back out to Birch Creek and he finished one spot off from moving on to regionals. But he sent me the video of his second moto to where if he would have finished 6th, he would have made it. They scored him 7th, but he actually came to 6th. And I asked him, I said, bro, why don't you go protest that? He's like, screw it. If they want to make me do it the hard way and do it another round, I'll do it. I was like, bro, I love the confidence.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's another one. He's got talent. I mean, I want him to succeed too. Good kid, good guy. I say kid. He's your age, right?
Yeah, he's a little bit older than me, but yeah, he's definitely still got a lot of youth in him, and he's very dedicated. I mean, I think he's going to Aona Pass in a couple of weeks for the qualifier. I think there's one there, and that makes three in a row that he's dedicated himself, his time, his money into going because he's striving for it. He's got the motivation to do it. He's got the skills. He's got the speed. I think he needs to be a little bit more consistent. But other than that, I know he's got it.
I look at him. The reason I like Ricky so much is I look at him as me because I didn't start till I was 21, and I did it all on my own. I didn't have no help. I bought my own bikes. I took myself to the tracks. I look at him as somebody that deserves it. He's got the talent, a little bit of backing, a little bit of support. I think he could go and make the Loretta's for sure,
Yeah, I'll try to help him as much as I can. And he helps me a lot. I know me and him really got close, or we've gotten close the past year. And I'm not going to give details, but he was in the hard spot in his life. And when I came around, I think I kind of was able to help him get back into it. He said he wanted to get back on the bike after his wreck at Revolution, but he didn't have the transportation, or at times he didn't have the gate fees. And I seen his drive of wanting to come back and do it again. So I was like, okay, I got you. So we started going to tracks, and he started racing again and getting back in shape. And then he started letting me ride, and it got me back on a bike. So I really consider him a really good friend of mine, and I want nothing but the best for him. And I think he's got it right in front of him. He just has to reach a little bit further to grab it, and he's good to go.
Well, I think more so than anything is that somebody, a person that's got natural talent takes them a lot farther than somebody that you just take and push and train and try to train and make them something that they're not. You take a kid or a guy that's got natural talent, they can do whatever they put their mind to. You know, they don't have to go to a training facility, and unless they just want to hone their skills better. But they've got it, and they got the drive. If you don't have the drive to win, you're never going to win. If you come off a track satisfied with the fifth place finish and say, "Well, I did the best I could," well, that's fine if that's all you want. But if you ever want to go nowhere, you got to have the desire to win. You can't be happy with fifth. That don't mean you go out there and slam your bike down, cuss or whatever when you don't do good, because it's going to happen. You ain't going to do good. But you're going to have to try to win. Your desire on that starting line is, I want to be first. Your desire is not to go out there and have fun if you want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there. It's fine. I mean, that's great. But I've not got there yet. As old as I am, I still want a desire to win. If I see Ricky, we line up, he's in the 30 and I'm in 50, I'm still going to race Ricky as hard as I can. Now, if he gets by me, I tag him behind him because I don't want to mess his race up. But if he's behind me, I'm going to, my guy back there, second place, and try to win, because Ricky's younger than me, and my desire, I'm going to try to beat Ricky. Class. Yeah. I'm going to try. If he pass me clean, he has just settled in behind me. Or if he can pass me clean, he's gone. Yeah. And that's the way I like to see, people with desire to win, do the best they can, and actually go somewhere.
He's got it. He's definitely made an impression on a lot of people, and I think that's why Jason Lell and them, they picked him up as a hooligan, and he fits the definition of their slogan, "I am what I am." I mean, I see him going places.
Yep.
I try to keep in touch with him as much as I can. And he's always talking about, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to area qualifier. I'm gonna make it. And this past weekend, I think I heard the most disappointment in his tone so far this year. But at the same time, with his response, like I told you, he said, "Well, if they want me to go and do it the hard way, I'm gonna do it." So
yeah, that determination, no give up attitude is what's going to get it.
He deserves it.
Just like when you told me he blew his bike up that day when I was down there, and he got him a new one on the way back home. I mean, that just goes to show, he could have just give up, threw his hands up and said, "I can't do this. This is done." When you said no, he thought about a new bike on the way home. We're racing. So good deal.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I hear you. Well,
that's what you got to.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do what you got to do to make it work. When my bike got stolen, I was able to get a couple of loaner bikes to, not only allow me to learn and progress throughout the rest of last season, but also try to keep in touch with the points. I finished third in points in the Carolina Elite Series and Open D. I think I finished 10th overall in 250D. I think I finished 6th or 7th in 25 plus in the Outlaw Series. So I think that's what I'm really going to focus on this year is the Outlaw Series because it is local, but I'm also going to go hit some of Jessica Patterson's races and some of these other ones. But I'm starting to look at it because when I talked to Ricky, he's like, "Man, these 250C guys are fast out here." But I'm being kind of cautious until I feel like I'm met my expectations that I need to go and bump it up a notch. I still have that competitive strive, that eagerness to be competitive, but at the same time, I'm trying to play it safe. But I don't want to play it too safe where it's going to hold me back from not being as competitive as I want. So, well, Mike,
You mentioned Jessica's series. I think some of Jessica's. You mentioned her. I think we're talking because she offers that class for Caden, the Stasic. So I'm sure I'll end up on hers too.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
go ahead.
Say I want to give a little shout out to Kathy's Creek, the prep and all that, Heavy and Chris and the Fortunes done over there. That's my take on this weekend because I normally don't do practices, but I did go out there with you guys Saturday. I really like what he's done. I'm glad he took the little camelback thing out.
Mm-hmm.
I like the whoops. I did, and they are going to tone them down a little bit more because there's a little peaky. And I think Heavy's going to do that with the dozer. Once it breaks in a little bit more too, it'll be a lot smoother. Up top rhythm, tabletop to tabletop.
Bro, I loved it. I love
like
sending it over
line.
those tabletops. I love coming off of that step up triple and going into that tabletop, dude. Coming out of that turn, I was never really able to fully clear that, but I was able to finally find the right gearing and the speed to clear that. And I was able to just send both of them. And I was like, yes. It just feels so good whenever you're knowing that you're riding great compared to, well, I'm riding like shit. I'm just going to ride like shit the rest of the day. No, you can't go into a new season, or much less just any kind of practice or race with that kind of mentality. But no, Chris and them, they got that track looking good. I like the sawdust. I'd like to see a little bit more dirt to mix in with that to where the ruts would form a little bit better. But no, they did some really nice things to that track during the off season, and I'm definitely looking forward to opening round for that. So
you put in a bunch of camper hookups out there. You're making this Kathy's Creek another. So.
Yeah, I seen that because I was gonna go pressure wash my bike at a buddy of mine's house, and I seen that he had hookups. I was like, oh, okay.
So, but yeah. I guess that's all I have. I know we've gone a little long here. I don't know how long you want to do this.
I don't care. I mean, it is what it is, man. I love having conversations, especially with you. You know, I definitely want to do more videos with you in the near future. And you guys, if you're watching these videos and you want to do an interview with me, reach out. I mean, I'm going through my friends list, and I'm starting to run out of people that I know that would do it. I'm gonna try to get around at the tracks a little bit more with some actual pre-race and post-race interviews. I definitely want to do a little bit more of those. And I try to get a hold of you before you left, Mike, but I think it was just kind of like, I'm tired, I'm ready to go home. I think we're both just.
And even rode home in my clothes. I left my gear on and everything.
I hear you.
Wife was up there, of course, but I loaded and left.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I want to do some more videos with you here in the near future, so definitely keep in touch with me, and then we'll go from there, man.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, Devin.
All right, Mike. Take care, buddy.